The bored man poked a hole in the boat with a dagger. After being seen, he hurriedly and awkwardly plugged it with his foot. At that moment, an enemy patrol boat came by. Dimitar hurriedly put on a fake mustache so as not to be recognized. The enemy officer approached the fishing boat for inspection. In order to make themselves look more like fishermen, teammate put an earthworm into his mouth. Dimitar pretended to be a fisherman, but the rod flew out. She used the rest of it as a telescope. The officer returned to the patrol boat and found Dimitar in the women's restroom. He immediately ordered his gun to be fired. The men on the fishing boat returned fire. Tobor told the others to evacuate first. He himself, with a machine gun, kept firing. One by one, the enemy fell in front of him. As he fired, more and more shell casings fell at his feet. The shells slowly flooded the tops of his feet and his knees. They even covered half of his body, and the enemy took a fancy dive in front of him. The officer was laughing at the fact that Tobor had finally run out of bullets, but Tobor threw a grenade into his mouth. In the end, Tobor wiped out the entire ship by himself. They came to the enemy camp where the hostages were being held. Tobor took out his dagger, and the end of it turned into a pair of pliers. However, after he cut a piece of barbed wire, then they infiltrated the camp. In order not to alert the enemy, they used special weapons. When the enemy opened the door, they were immediately knocked out by the gloves of a bazooka. He could even hit the enemy on the guard tower. Dimitar sets up his sniper rifle and adjusts his sights. The hammer that comes out of the muzzle takes them down. Tobor chooses to use a cold weapon, a bow and arrow. He fires an arrow, but it's just in time for the enemy to dodge it. Until all the arrows on his back are gone, he misses. By now, the enemy had already spotted him. Tobor took the rooster at his feet and put it on his bow. Then he killed the enemy with a single shot. After taking care of the enemies on the periphery, Tobor led his team to the cell where the hostages were being held. He threw the guard's key to the hostage. The hostage opens the door and comes out. The guard was awakened by a mouse on the table. The hostage grabbed a fly swatter from the table and knocked him out, but the alarm was triggered. The hostage grabbed the shotgun on the table and took charge of the back, while the others took the opportunity to rescue all the hostages.